Okay.
All right, video number 3. So today we are doing a bunch of stuff. Video number 2, you guys got to see, you got to see so many different things. You have to go back. If you missed the video, click that link, go back to that video. This is literally a full assembly of a 2025 anniversary going. Charlie Brown, the Godfather, his bike is getting triked up by California Sidecars.
His second.
We did
his white.
Actually, he said he got a ton done from you guys in the past.
Yeah, he's got a blue.
I think like six trikes done so far. This be 6
Is it
trikes.
that many?
Yeah. He got a lot done.
Yeah.
And who am I talking to?
Will, California Sidecar. I'm your guy.
Come on.
Sensei thinks I'm your guy.
he is the guy. Will, what are we doing today?
We're building Charlie Brown's trike. Today, we've already got, obviously the bike's torn down. We've got the suspension bolted up. Everything is tight, torqued where we want it. We've got the pivot covers back on. So today, we're gonna install the drive shaft. We're gonna install the preloader onto our shock, adjust the spring to the ride, and we're gonna put on the park brake, adjust the park brake, install the ABS sensor. We've got the brake line on, so we'll bleed the brakes, and then we'll install the exhaust and the gravel pan, and that'll be about it for today on today's video.
Awesome.
The trike kit will be done, and the next video we'll do the front end.
Ooh. All right, guys, you know how we say let's go? All right, let's go.
So our drive shaft is a solid drive shaft with only a spline on the front. So we actually have our differential so it slides on slots in the suspension box. So we're going to loosen these 4 bolts, 2 on each side. Whoa. And my diff's just going to slide back out of the way. I'm going to put the drive shaft in, slide it back forward. U-bolt's tight. So here's my drive shaft. Get him up in place. And this rotor here is going to be my park brake rotor, and the windows here are for my ABS sensor. So it's a dual purpose. You got to put the U-bolts in from that side, but you got to put the nuts on this side. Just the way that it is. I shouldn't have to say this, but I'm gonna. On our trike kit, everything is brand new. Nothing on this trike is a rebuilt or remanufactured, reconditioned differential, drive shaft, brake calipers, whatever. Everything is brand new and built for CSC. We say purpose built. We've designed and had manufactured all these parts. Drive shaft has big Spicer U-joints. Differential is a Dana 30 style differential. Okay, I gotta come over here. I get that U-joint. See that little over here on this little finger that holds the cup? I just gotta do it. That cup is pretty tight. This is a non-serviceable U-joint, so there's already grease in there and it's trying to push the caps away. So I've got to compress the caps in order to get them inside these fingers. So I just got that one inside there. So now we'll get those nuts on and tightened up. So as far as tightening up these U-bolts, I got this short wrench and I'm just holding the drive shaft with my hand. I'm not gonna put a longer wrench on here. I'm not gonna put a screwdriver in the U-joint to hold it, the drive shaft from turning. I'm just gonna hold it with my hand, and as tight as I can get this locking nut with this short wrench is tight enough. You don't wanna go crazy on these U-joint, on these U-bolts and crush your cap. So that's tight, that's tight. Get a couple more out of that one. You want them to be pretty even too. You want about the same amount of thread sticking out of both U-bolts, both ends of the U-bolt, so it's not pulling strange. So that's good, right there. So now keep the camera there. I'm gonna pull this back just to show you how everything moves. I'm gonna push it forward. That's it. I'm not gonna preload nothing. I'm not gonna push nothing. I'm just gonna tighten the bolts now. Grab a ratchet and check those. Okay, drive shaft installed. We're gonna quick check the oil. I'm gonna raise it up to do the brake caliper and check the oil. So every Trike kit, of course, the ring and pinion is assembled right here in this building. We fill our differentials with oil, and we almost always fill those differentials with oil. Ask me how I know. So we're gonna check that to make sure. They honestly go right at 6 miles. Don't ask me how I know that.
Interesting. How you know that, Will?
Yeah. Obviously, I have a drain, same style bolt.
Yeah.
Drain bolt and fill plugs, same bolt, 3/4, 1/2-inch threads. I'm going to take a zip tie out of the garbage can. Grab me a zip tie here. I'm going to bend a little 90-degree on the end. That's my dipstick. I'm going to lay that in on the threads, pull it out, and I'm like right there. I want to be within 1/4 inch of the threads, and that's perfect. I don't want to be full. If I fill the differential up to the threads, so I've put a quart of oil in there. That's where it is. It's about a 1/4 inch from the threads. Differential oil is checked. Differential is tight. Drive shaft is tight. Now we'll do our park brake caliper. Drop a Loctite on there. So now I'm going to take my park brake caliper, and I want to make sure that my brake rotor goes between the 2 pads. So in order to do that, I'm going to come up here way at the top, and I'm going to see that my brake pad is on either side of the rotor. You can see those brake pads are on both sides of the rotor.
Yep.
So then I'm going to kind of come on the rotor, and I'm going to bring it down into place until it matches up with my mount.
Nice.
Because I've definitely had other dealers install both pads on the outside. Well, the park brake doesn't work with a crap like that. It just scrapes the backing, the metal backing against the rotor, and doesn't do a lot of holding. Park brake installed. I'm going to grab a wrench and a vice grip, and we're going to adjust that caliper now. We already adjusted the cable. We did that in the last video. We adjusted the cable. So now we're going to adjust the actual caliper. The Honda rotor is much thicker. My rotor is much thinner, only because it's going through the U-bolts, and I wanted to have a rotor that's not so crazy thick so I could use normal U-bolts. So that's why it's as thin as it is. And again, this is a park brake. It's not made for, I'm out of control and I grab the brake and it's meant to stop the motorcycle. It's not that. It's to hold it when it's parked. So I'm going to simply loosen this nut on the front. I'm going to leave my wrench on there, and you can see that there's flats on the end of that stud. And I just lightly pinch my vice grip And that's what allowing me to spin that in. I'm not clamping on the threads, I'm clamping on the flats. And I'm spinning it quite a bit. There, it's kind of tight. I got some tension. I'm going to go about there. And that's going to get me close. I got the nut too loose. That's going to get me close. Now we're going to be quiet and we're going to listen. Oh, shoot. That was already on one click. So it's not going to be right.
So you need to have it on one click first?
I need to have it all the way down.
Oh, got to have it fully released.
The one click was when I adjusted the free play.
Yep.
Now I'm adjusting it. I want it all the way down. I adjust my stud in, back it off a little bit, tighten it up. Now, we want 3, maybe 4 clicks. So we're going to listen real close. I just barely got 4. 1, 2, 3.
4.
I can just get 4, so
Yep.
I'm gonna be satisfied with that. Make sure it's tight. So that's adjusting the park brake caliper. And again, that's the same on a tool bike, whatever trike you have, our trike, somebody else's trike. Everybody's putting the caliper on the drive shaft, adjusting that nut with the stud. That's all the same no matter what vehicle you have. Caliper is done, adjusted. So now we're going to do our ABS sensor wire. We're going to get the OEM bolt that we had, that we removed. And you can tell the only Honda OEM bolt with the green lock patch. That's your ABS sensor bolts. I'm providing you with a little bag of shims in your kit. So the last, and you always have to shim this ABS sensor. You can't just bolt it up. Always going to give you 5. I got to grab my feeler gauges, and you have to measure. You build 3 trikes in a row, and all 3 of them took 2 shims. So the 4th one I'm going to build. I'm not going to measure it. I'm just going to put 2 shims in. And sure enough, it rubs or something, or it's way too far away because it's different. You always have to measure. You always have to check it. You can't, it's never consistent. There's a lot of different machined parts where the yoke is with the crush sleeve in the differential on the pinion shaft compared to the actual differential housing, which your caliper is bolted to, which is where the ABS sensor is bolted to, and this rotor is in a different spot. The way that they machine the yoke, it's close, but we're talking about 10 thousandths. The difference between 10 thousandths. So we want 40 thousandths. So I'm going to start with 2 shims. Each shim is 10 thousandths. So I'm going to put 2 on there. And maybe for video magic, it'll be good. So we tighten that up. And then right at the very top is where the sensor is getting these windows. I'm going to take a 30 and stick a 30 in there, right there. And it's loose. That's good, because I'm looking for 40. So now I'm going to do 40. I'm going to do a 20 and a 21. Oh, video magic. That's pretty good.
Ooh, I like video magic.
So I'm going to spin it a little bit, see that it's consistent. That might be a little snugger, but it'll go. Okay, so that one's probably, I got 41. So maybe that's 39. That's probably 42. Perfect, I love it. So I've already tightened it up. I'm of course gonna check the tight. Yep. So I put 2 in there. I totally lucked that out. A couple zip ties, and then the ABS sensor is done. So I am going to zip tie the ABS sensor to the park brake cable right here, close. Again, I'm not gonna go crazy tight. I'm just gonna get it up there, out of the way, out of that drive shaft, guys. And then I'm gonna take the cable. So I did a little zip tie there to keep him out of the way. And then I'm gonna do a cable here to keep everything. And this one I'm not gonna do tight at all because I don't wanna get too crazy with this bracket. By the way, this bracket is welded onto every frame mount, and this would hold the reverse resistor on a manual transmission. But I weld this bracket on every single mount, so I just have one mount for every Encore trike instead of having a different frame mount for manuals and DCTs, which would be cheaper to do, but we want to have one part instead of 2. Same with the park brake bracket, that billet aluminum bracket. So on a manual, you don't have that park brake caliper, you just have ABS, but you get that big, beautiful billet bracket just for ABS sensor. So ABS is donezo.
Keep on giving you guys these little shots so you guys get an idea. This is what it's looking like before it goes on the bike. And so you see what the day looks like. It is raining.
And we're so crazy that I'm giving you this brand new nylock nut, but I don't want you to use it again. So I'm going to toss this in my bolt bin, and I'm going to provide you with a brand new nylock nut that gets used basically just for shipping. So I'm going to jack this up until that bolt is loose, pull him out. I've got my magic shock block right here, believe it or not. I don't even know if I should video this. This is kind of a CSC exclusive.
Also, yeah, we're going to blank that part out.
Yeah.
We're going to
We'll have
blur
to
it.
blur it, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to put a smurf.
This is a special CSC only tool that I got there.
We're going to put a smurf holding it up.
So JRI, a great NASCAR shock, hot rod, everybody company in North Carolina makes that shock for us, for CSC. It's got California sidecar on it. It also has got JRI shock on it. Great shock, nitrogen-filled shock. This fitting is for JRI. When they're assembling it, the shock's all done. They put like 14 PSI, pretty sure 14 PSI of nitrogen in this shock, not for the consumer to fool with.
Right.
It's for them for assembly, and that's it.
Don't touch that.
Yeah, leave it alone, guys. So Honda preloader. I've got my Honda preload sleeve. I slip inside there. I've got my spring seat that we make. Put that all together. And I'm going to put it right back together with the, this feature, the Honda preload is free with the Trike kit. Every Honda Goldwing Trike kit that has this preloader, whether it's a Goldwing or that has the manual the manual adjust or the Honda preload, this is a free feature that California Sidecar has. Other companies like to charge you to utilize that free Honda part, but here we just give it to you. It is all the way threaded in tight. Slip that down. And the reason I've got the jack in there is because if I were to let that jack down, both A-arms are going to go down. I can't just lift one because of the way my anti-roll bar works. I've got to then lift both sides, left and right A-arms. But if I hold my shock under one, it'll hold both sides up. So it's just a little trick to hold this together while I'm putting my shock bolt in. Give it a little jack. That's a little too far.
Perfect.
That's good. Yeah.
Nice.
Brand new nut. We'll tighten that. And that's a 1/2-inch bolt, so that's 100 foot-pounds. Nice. Now, there's a lot of talk about this spring. Oh, I'm going to tighten up this spring to stiffen the ride. I'm going to loosen that spring to soften the ride. This is actually a single rate spring. That means it has one ride. If you want a softer, harder ride, we have 3 different springs. We have a 500-pound spring, a 600-pound, and a 770 spring. So that's good for total riding weight, pulling a trailer, cargo, all that stuff. So you need to pick the right spring for you. Charlie Brown has picked our 600-pound spring, which is a little heavy because I think he kind of rides by himself most of the time. We could have probably gotten away with the 525. And we're gonna set this spring to the rider weight. So if I always ride the Trike with 400 pounds, he's 200, she's 200. I shouldn't say that. He's 200, she's 150, but then they carry like 50 pounds of stuff in the trunk.
Yep.
That's 400 pounds total. So we're going to set this spring to a certain length to compensate for that 400 pounds so that my Trike is always at 6 inches of ride height. That's what we want. We always want 6 inches of ride height. At optimal ride height, my A-arm is parallel to the ground, my half shaft is parallel to the ground, so I don't have, right now I have an angle forward and an angle down. So there's a double angle at both joints. Optimally, you want the half shaft to be level, parallel to the ground, so I only have one angle of going forward, not this way, especially you set it at 400 and then you ride it at 550 because you gave your big buddy a ride home from wherever. Sitting too low a little bit is okay. Sitting too low a lot, you've got a double angle on your half shafts and you're going to wear out your joints and boots. It's just not optimal. So just be truthful. Tell your installer what you weigh. I got this little chart, this little cheat sheet chart. It's in all my instructions. That's my Snap-on bill. We don't need to see that.
20,000.
So, yeah, I got my 300-pound spring. I'm going to set this to 400 pounds. Obviously, Charlie Brown is not that big of a guy, and he probably doesn't carry much cargo, but I don't want it to sit super low at the shows and stuff. I want it to sit at a normal ride height. So we're going to set that spring length at 12 5/8. So that's what we're going to do right now. And if you had a bigger or smaller person, then that's how you adjust that spring. But it's not changing the ride. Changing the ride is the choice of spring. So I know this is a 14-inch spring, spanner wrench, adjustment wrench that we make for a JRI shock. So I'm going to adjust this. I'll tell you that it's 13.5 because I've compressed it a little ways. Maybe I can get a little further. I don't care about this right now until I'm tight and done. So we got to go basically an inch. Okay, I'm looking for 12 5/8, and I'm measuring just the spring. I'm not measuring the adjuster nut. I'm not measuring my seat. And of course, I've got my preloader on the Honda set at single person, all the way soft. I shouldn't say soft, all the way down. So on a 1 to 17, you're going to have your preloader at 0. On an 18 plus, you're going to have it at single person, because then you still have that adjustment. So I'm at 12 and 15, 13 16ths, and I'm looking for 5/8. That's probably pretty close. Yeah, I'm actually just a tick under 5/8.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
Okay,
damn.
so now I'm looking for my set screw is right there. So my set screw, if I'm looking at it from the side like a clock, I always want my set screw at like 10 o'clock, because Charlie Brown buys this trike and just for kicks. 2 years later, he sells it, and he sells it to a guy that's 300 pounds and his wife is 200 pounds, and they pull a trailer all the time. This thing is going to ride low for them. So the next installer can take the wheel off, jack this bike up, reach in here, loosen that set screw, because I put it in a spot where he can get to it. He can get his adjuster on like a 18-inch extension, and I can tighten or loosen that spring up. So think about the next guy. Don't just think about you. It's easy to put the set screw right here because I'm at the back and I'm going to tighten it up. You're going to hate yourself because you can't get to that set screw. When the trike body's on, I've optimized the trunk space and I've got my trike body tight to everything here. So put that set screw at about 10 o'clock right up front. But I also want to change this preloader line to be sticking out of the front.
Okay, so you're going to, okay.
So now I'm going to loosen this a little bit and twist everything. So that guy's level. Again, because the trike body's right there. I can't have that line being up and rubbing. I got to have it going forward. So now I'm going to hold that, get my set screw there, about 10 o'clock, and I'm going to tighten that 2 millimeter against my sleeve, and then that set screw there on the adjuster nut. And this set screw has like a little nylon dick so it doesn't ruin your threads. So you don't have to go crazy, just kind of get it snug.
Just a little snug, okay.
That's probably not going to spin anyhow, but you don't want to dig that thing in there and ruin the threads, and then I can't adjust my spring later. Hopefully you don't have to adjust it, but you might have to. Think about tomorrow, think about the future, and I know a lot of people don't think about that. They're only in today. They're only thinking about themselves in today. I guess let's bolt some more stuff on here. Let's do the exhaust.
Sounds good.
I'm going to jack it up a little bit more. We have to take the center stand off because the center stand actually hits my V-mount. Unfortunately, I love to have earlier Trikes, 01 to 17 vintage. If I'm going to do ground effects, I'm going to cut this bar off, throw this away, leave the center stand on, because doing service work, I'll bring the Trike on the lift, I'll clamp the front wheel, I'll jack up the back, I flip the center stand down, makes that vehicle very stable for working on. With just jacking it up in the back, nothing in the middle, clamping the wheel, it's a little tippy. So those extra 2 feet on the center stand, I like to leave them there. But unfortunately on an Encore Trike, 18 plus, we can't. So I'll show you, I'll jack this up a little bit more and I'll put the center stand up. So now it's clear. So that's where the center stand lives. It's up against my V-mount for my gravel pan. So it won't actually fold all the way up. It's about 1.5 inches from folding all the way up. So we have to get rid of it. So if anybody has got a Goldwing and doesn't have a center stand on their bike, call Charlie Brown because he's got a brand new one for sale.
If you guys have the bagger and you don't have a center stand, call Charlie.
Or call Will because I got a pile of them too.
Or call Will, because Will got plenty. And the price is right.
The price is always right.
Only 20 grand.
Free t-shirt.
Yeah, with a t-shirt.
So now that that's out of the way, I can now take that Honda hose router. I'm going to reinstall that over on this side. Get those hoses right. Okay, so that's good, that's done. Nice little gravel pan underneath here. And this is gonna keep junk and trash, first of all, out of your pinion seal and your U-joint, your rainwater and road grime and stuff, keeping that out of your U-joint, keeping it out of your park brake caliper, pads and rotor. It's just keeping all the road grime and junk out of that drive line. Nice. All right, we're gonna do the exhaust. Right side tailpipe. I'm gonna reuse, because the Honda exhaust bracket, or the exhaust gaskets were brand new and nice and beautiful. I supply All Balls makes us exhaust gaskets, but the Honda ones are a little bit nicer, so I'm just gonna reuse those if you can. If you got an older bike and the gaskets are kind of burnt out and trashed, then you gotta use the new ones.
That looks beautiful.
CSC mufflers. You know, it is super easy to make a muffler.
So beautiful.
And it's so easy to make a muffler loud. I'm telling you, it's not easy to make a muffler quiet. And Honda has a great, quiet muffler, but it's massive. And you can see that massive muffler will not fit in our suspension. Other manufacturers, their Trike kit suspension is a little higher. Their A-arms are a lot steeper, only for the function of reusing those stock Honda mufflers under their Trike. But man, those mufflers are low. When you get on speed bumps and stuff,
They scraping.
those mufflers are low, bro. Underneath the middle of your Trike, loading and unloading out of trailers and stuff.
So people are able to get, I like how you said that about the loudness though, because right now there are people who want that sound, right?
Yeah, these sound great. I think these sound great.
Awesome.
But there's some old-time wingers, that love their sewing machine Goldwing,
Yeah, they want that quiet, that prrrr.
and that's what they want. But it's so hard to make a quiet muffler. So we've tried to, you know, the best we can do is make a good muffler with a lot of baffles inside, and we've actually rubber mounted them, which does a lot. The Honda muffler is rubber mounted, so we have 3 rubber sandwich mounts to rubber mount the muffler to the body so you don't have that drone or hum from the exhaust through your metal suspension. So we've put those rubbers in there, and it helps. It's still got that, it's just about impossible to make a muffler as quiet as the Hondas. We've done the best we could with what we had. And there's the size constraint. There's no room up underneath there. There's no room in the suspension. So we literally have this little space, and Honda's got that giant muffler underneath the Trike, underneath the bike. So they've got a lot more room than we do.
Yeah, and then they have like a little tiny pinhole. If you look in there, it's tiny.
Tiny. Yeah, very restrictive. Very restrictive. Whew, that's loud. Nice little stainless tips that we make ourselves. I shouldn't say we make ourselves. We have them made. We've designed them and had them made. Looks just like the back of your Honda muffler. And we do these in polished stainless. And the newer bikes, there's a lot of black on them, so we're actually powder coating these guys black as well, so you can have a blackout kit. These I don't know where they need to be. I'm going to adjust those with the body. I'm just kind of getting them on there for now. We'll adjust those and adjust them, you know, a little twist and in and out once the body's on.
Right, so they could align right?
Yeah, oh shoot, I put an extra clamp on there. Now it's trapped. What's that going to be for?
Let's find out.
Let's find out. Remember that bracket from the first video that we put on? Mm-hmm. That clamp's going to hold that bracket. So we make sure our rubbers line up. Top and bottom. Nice.
I like that tip that you gave too in video number 1 about leaving that rubber piece on the bike.
Yeah. With the rubber on the chrome, then you're lining up a little tiny slit of the rubber onto that little tiny tab on the exhaust. And it's like impossible to line that little slot in where you have the big rubber. And these newer bikes, they actually have a little bit of exhaust grease, something on there. So it just slips right on. So now I've got my last clamp, and I'm going to put that on my little saddle on my bracket. And we're going to just snug that up. I'm going to kind of make this level. And that's good enough for now. And then I got to tighten up that bolt because we just put it in there with our fingers. And we don't actually use the rubber, the crash bar guy. Mm-hmm. My body actually mimics that, and it comes up over to here. So I'm going to bend that up inside so it doesn't get in the way of my body. So I tighten the bolt up, tighten the clamp, bend the tab.
Right here, guys. I let the tab right there.
That held the plastic crash bar cover.
Yep.
That tab.
Which you won't need on a Trike.
Nope. Dunzo.
Finito.
Exhaust is done.
All right, I'll give you guys the rear view. You see all of this is done. Exhaust is done. Whole thing got installed. Springs, the brakes, all of that stuff is done.
We got to bleed the brakes. The brake line's installed and stuff, but we got to bleed them now. I had a customer call me on the phone and said, I need to bleed the brakes, but your calipers don't have any bleeders on them. I said, well, do you see those black caps? Yeah, I see the black caps, but there's no bleeders. I'm like, buddy, those are black caps that cover the bleeders. Oh, okay. I've had many people say common sense isn't so common anymore. And I'm thinking to myself, if you can't find I shouldn't say this.
You should say it.
If you can't find the bleeder, buddy, you shouldn't be bleeding your brakes.
Yes.
Just take it to somebody that knows what a bleeder is. That's what I'm thinking. This is a brand new bike with no miles on it, but I'm still gonna suck the fluid out of there. I'm sure that it's brand new, beautiful Honda fluid, and I know that it is, but I just always suck the fluid out because I'm gonna put my fluid in, and I want my fluid in the whole system. If it was an older bike, I'd wipe that out with like a paper towel or something because there's always grime and moisture and trash in those. So you want that to be clean, obviously. We're gonna set this up so we don't spill anything. Put my little master cylinder condom on there so I don't spill brake fluid over it.
Protection is key.
Yeah. So I know everybody knows that Honda Goldwings have linked brakes, and I know everybody knows how the link brake system works, but I'm gonna explain it anyway. On the 1 to 17s, it's reasonably different than the new bikes. 1 to 17, when I hit the rear brake, I'm doing some of each front, and I'm doing all of the rear, including the secondary master cylinder. When I do the front, I'm doing most of the front, including the secondary master cylinder, which does a small part of the rear. That's a two-wheel bike. And we leave that link brake system because it works great on our Trike. So again, foot pedal does some of the front, all the rear. Hand brake does most of the front and the front half of my caliper, because I actually have two lines on a 1 to 17, two lines coming from the secondary master cylinder and from the rear pedal. So when I hit the rear pedal, the whole caliper. When I hit the hand brake, it only does the front half. On 18 plus, my brake pedal does, so you've got a 6-piston caliper here. I've got 4 big pistons, top and bottom, two and two, and then I've got 2 smaller pistons in the middle. The rear pedal, both calipers exactly the same. Front lever does the 4 big guys on both sides, so a lot of front, and the pedal does the middle 2 smaller pistons in the front and the whole rear. So a little different than the 1 to 17s where the front lever is only doing the front, but the rear is doing a little front and all the rear. You get no rear action from your brake lever on an 18 plus. It's a little different than the 1 to 17s. I don't know why they changed that.
So no rear action on the front brake.
Correct. On
Interesting.
18 plus, no action.
I did not know that.
Yep. It's only linked when you hit the rear. It's not linked when you hit the front.
Okay.
So that is different for this year, the 18 plus bikes. So I don't need to bleed the fronts, but I'm going to bleed the whole system. So I am going to bleed the lower, so the upper bleed valve is for your front brake lever. The middle bleed valve or lower bleed valve, this is coming from the rear brake. So we're going to bleed that as well. Again, on an earlier bike, an 18, 19, 20 that's got some mileage, people don't change their brake fluid like they should. We're going to flush the system more. I'm just going to do a quick bleed on both fronts, and then I'm going to get the rear going. With a vacuum bleeder, you're never going to get a solid line of fluid. You're always going to get, it looks like it's not a good solid amount of fluid, but there's plenty of air getting around the bleeder and getting around this fitting and stuff. So you're just going to get fluid. It's just going to kind of be not solid. See how you're kind of getting stuff coming through there? That's pretty good. Close her up. Now we'll go to the rear. So the rear, you remember we installed that black brake line. from here all the way to there. From the distribution block, we've got these silver lines that come underneath the A-arm, go to the caliper. So I've got a lot of line that's empty. These calipers are empty. We use brake fluid to lubricate the seals and the pistons to assemble them, but these calipers are empty. So it's going to take a reasonable amount of fluid to get me going. So I'm going to kind of keep this up in the air so I can actually see when I get fluid. And I'm going to pump the pedal too. Slow, nice and slow. I'm not in no hurry. I'm just starting to get fluid now.
Yep, that's it.
So that's good. So then I move to the next. Now that I've got fluid through this half, these other three will go pretty quick. And yes, you do have to bleed all 4 bleeders. Make sure my fluid's full. So I've got a fixed, like this is a fixed caliper. That caliper is bolted to the fork and it doesn't float. The earlier bikes had floating calipers, floating rotors. This has a floating rotor but a fixed caliper. This caliper is also fixed. This caliper is bolted hard to this silver aluminum bracket that's bolted to my upright. The rotor is tight when I've tightened up my lug nuts, so nothing's free floating. I've got a 4-piston caliper, so I'm pushing on both sides. Fixed caliper, 4-piston caliper, 4 bleeders. I got a bleeder for each piston.
You guys taking these notes? When I tell you it's a lot of information, information is key. And I understand that a lot of people don't have that attention span anymore, but when it comes to school and learning, give me everything, because I'm taking the notes.
And taking video so you remember, and you can rewind it and watch it again.
That's right.
Right.
That's beautiful.
Okay, the lines are bled, the pistons are still pushed way out, so I'm gonna come up and I'm gonna pump this pedal quite a few times. Don't get discouraged, because I'm pushing all 8 pistons out in the calipers. If you watch in here, you'll eventually see these guys all moving. And it's gonna take some fluid and some pumping.
Right now, does it feel soft?
Yes, it's bottoming out. It's going clear all the way down. I have a soft pedal. I got nothing so far. My lines are bled pretty good. We're gonna hand bleed it later, but I gotta get all my pistons pumped up. There, I'm starting to get a little something. There we go. There she goes. There. I got some pedal. It's still soft because we got to hand bleed it.
Right.
But now my pistons are all pushed out. I should actually have
trouble moving it.
Yeah.
Correct.
Some brake now. Yeah, I got some brake. Yeah. Yeah, there's the pedal.
Yeah, if I do this, I can't even budget.
Yep. So it seems like a really good time for lunch.
Time to eat.
Yeah. We'll let this thing sit. You want to let the brake sit 20, 30 minutes because of the vacuum. You maybe have made 15 little bubbles, and bleeding those 15 little bubbles is hard. Once you let it sit for 20 minutes, those 15 bubbles will come to 2 big bubbles, and those 2 big bubbles will bleed out really quick. So you always want to do a vacuum bleed, new fluid, let it sit, do a hand bleed, then you're going to have good brakes. Take the time and do it right.
And we like good brakes.
Yeah.
We like good brakes. All right, we're about to go eat. You go eat too, and we'll be right back.